Grabando. Muy buenas, tengan todos ustedes bienvenidos a este su canal, el mejor canal de la internet, Vikkopiloto. ¿Qué tal? ¿Cómo están? Vikkopiloto al habla y estamos aquí en Dragon Age Inquisition. Justo donde lo dejamos y vamos a continuar con esta gran aventura. Lo primero que quiero hacer es ir a la mesa de guerra y seguir haciendo misioncitas. Porque lo que yo quería era ver lo de los Venatori, porque donde están los Venatori es donde voy a conseguir los libros de los Venatori, porque pues básicamente pues, esos son los libros de ellos. Supongo, no sé, esto es especulación mía, la verdad no tengo esa información. Y no la voy a buscar porque quiero explorar, aprenderlo por mí mismo. O recordarlo por mí mismo porque ya lo había hecho, pero no me acuerdo cómo lo hice. Que los libros estos son para la especialización del personaje. ¿Qué es este botón? Ah, aquí está el clic del mapa, misiones, personaje, inventario, menú del héroe. Ah, el... sí. ¿Dónde está mi castillo? Ahí. De hecho no tenía que haber salido, íbamos a la mesa de guerra, estaba ahí a un lado. Consejo, assemble. Felden. Nuevo en el grupo, joven prometedor. Informa que ha acabado con los bandidos y ha conseguido un pequeño botín. Puede que este chico tenga potencial. Muy bien. ¿Me abrió algo nuevo?
It's a bit cold in here, don't you think? We are in the mountains.
I'm more concerned about everything scattering whenever there's a draft.
Rumores de Maleficarum. Sombras sobre Denerim. El Arl de Risco Rojo. Mediar entre los nobles de Osquic. Negociar con los príncipes no está disponible porque seguramente hay alguien que todavía no termina su misión. Que es esta mujer de aquí, que es la de los Venatori. Todavía le faltará. Por el mar del despertar. Hacerse con la arcana. En busca del escritorzuelo. Ganarse la amistad no lo puedo hacer tampoco. Aquí está la otra que ya está hecha. Nos dan influencia. Y nos dan puntos sobre cera, que es lo importante. Recursos del acceso no. Recursos no, recursos no, recursos no. ¿Cuánto le queda a esto? 4 horas. En la noche podemos seguir haciendo esto.
You read the report?
It was unusual.
Serpiente de
Is
barra
he always so
completada.
blunt?
Yes.
Recursos no sé qué. Pues vamos a hacer desde acá, bueno, perdón, bueno, sí. Para prohibirle el paso deben saber dónde está ella y no lo sabrán. El arcana es para tener un mejor... Un herrero extra en nuestra armería y poder encantar armas, básicamente. Los nobles de Osquic lo tiene que hacer... Ah, Josefina está ocupada. Vas.
Inquisitor.
Por la fuerza. No hay de otra. Y los rumores me los vas sacando tú.
Inquisitor.
Muy amables todos. ¿En serio? ¿Ya acabaste, Cullen? Así de rápido. Hacer una cosa inmediata, ¿no? No me fijé en el tiempo que tardaba y... O sea, que tengo una acción libre, hay que ponerla. Ah, no, lo estás trabajando, no. Olvídalo. Ok, ¿qué quiero ir a hacer? Listo 8 de poder. Listo mucho poder. Hablo con los entrenadores. Ya hablé con los entrenadores. Los Venatori. Desde aquí nada. Del círculo interno. Podríamos viajar a Ampras du Lion, empezar a ver qué está pasando ahí. Y juntar los artefactos de una vez. O sea, usar el pretexto de los artefactos para tal. Hablar con Cera acerca de la marcha. Eso podemos hacerlo porque estamos aquí. Vamos con Cera.
Inquisitor.
¿Dónde está Cera? Cera está... aquí. Está aquí enfrente. De hecho está aquí. Y va a dar una vuelta súper innecesaria. Eso.
From Haven's fire come we, the able true, to Skyhold now, a fortress strong and free. We rally with our hero born anew.
Very well.
Inquisitor, a title hard to rhyme. A challenge for another day, I think. Forgive me my distractions, Eminence. I'm overwhelmed by you and what you've done. My name is Meridet, a humble bard.
¿En qué nos puedes
What
ayudar?
do you bring to the Inquisition?
A simple thing that you know well. The power of a muse to rally hearts and minds. Inquisitor, I want to spread the word of what you've done. A small but vital role. Perhaps I'll also make a coin or two.
Are you a bard like those of Orlais?
Oh, heavens no. I'm a minstrel first. My weapon is a cutting tongue, not blades. I hope my skills will help in some small way, if only I can give your deeds their due.
Gracias.
Carry on, then.
Oh, I will do my best, Inquisitor.
¿Y si vuelvo a hablar con ella?
The day finds you of well and sturdy health?
Sí. Más adelante imagino que irán sacando canciones sobre mí, cosas así, ¿no? Ah, también tendría que hablar con Cullen, porque ya trajimos a su familia. A ver cómo se siente al respecto.
The left hand remembers a knife slipped to her in the darkness and wonders why the flower blooms.
I'll talk to you later.
Probably.
Todavía no. Esto todavía no lo arreglan. Imagino que serán los aposentos de alguien, ¿no? Especial que va a vivir aquí o lo que sea. Y solamente hasta que se arreglen. O sea, hasta que suceda esa escena. O que yo avance en las misiones principales, se va a arreglar eso de ahí. Parece que no es con el tiempo, es según las misiones. Lo cual me parece muchísimo más atinado. O sea, es menos orgánico. Porque pues tú podrías quedarte ahí parada sin mover nada en lo que te arreglan todo el castillo. Y luego ponerte a jugar, porque no afecta en nada la jugabilidad. Solo en las...
Something like when met with a monstrous smile. A man
Solo en las posibles desbloqueos de cosas, ¿no?
a rising cup.
Que podrías conseguir.
An awful skyward blue.
Pues yo creo que este va a ser un capítulo cortito de...
Thank you.
¿Cómo se llama esto? De conversaciones. Vamos a hacerlo de Cera. Vamos a hablar con el segundo al mando del toro. Y vamos viendo. Hola, Cera.
I hear Vashel was good pay for you, Inquisitor. Time to go see if my friends came through too. Got a location for a stash. Hopefully something nice for my trouble. Well, your trouble. Just let me know when you're ready to head out. Be sure to bring your empty pockets.
Vayamos ya. Pues mira, una misión de
I'm
ella.
ready if you are.
Always, yeah. My favorite part, this. Let's go see what friends can get us.
Cera tiene que ir a huevo. Vamos a llevar al Blackwall y al toro. Ah, ¿solo podemos ir 3? Ah, no. Entonces Blackwall no va, va el toro. ¿Por qué no te puedo meter? ¿O sí pueden ir todos? Sí, ok. Pero no puedo cambiarlos de lugar. Como en plan... acomodarlos como yo quiera. O sea, sé que tienes que ir. Pero no te puedo poner en otro lado. Porque no te quiero poner ahí. No, ¿no? No estoy moviendo nada aquí raro, no tampoco. Estoy empezando teclas al azar, a ver si no moví algo. Pues vamos. A ver, quitar todo. No, se queda ahí arriba la cera. Más bien estaba como bugadilla o algo. Bueno, no importa. Confirmar.
Wait, this is weird. What? I was expecting a village or something. The people that leave me stuff don't trek out to places like this. Give me a city and I'll give you a tour, but surprise, surprise, I don't know stupid woods or ruins. What's that?
Don't hurt me. Harmond made me do it.
Harmond. Claro que ha salido mal. ¿Qué está haciendo aquí?
What's your name and why are you here?
He made me come. Said I had to lead him to her because I said things. It was just bar talk.
This was supposed to be a simple drop. What's going on?
You're her. You're the one he's waiting for.
Jenny la
It's
Roja.
her. She's here. Red Jenny.
Toma. Por güey. ¿Emboscada? Hijos de... No importa. Yo te salvaré porque estoy enamorado de ti. Qué falso, eso no me había dado. Yo te lo había esquivado justo a tiempo, pero bueno, va. Listo. Como no sueltan nada. Qué bonita está el hacha nueva del toro. Es que...
This is a tragic misunderstanding. Let's all sheath our swords, you walk out, and we'll conduct this like business.
Don't believe this pissbag. He started it.
Mira, mira. Es como un prisma y cuando la usa ¡pum!, se convierte en una hacha. Es que está guapísima. Me encanta este arma de este tipo. Está brutal el diseño de esa arma. Bueno, este me dijo, no me hagas daño, podemos llegar a un acuerdo. Pero el güey nos traicionó. Entonces yo voy a dejar que Cera, porque es la misión de Cera, voy a dejar que Cera elija qué hacer con él. A ver, hijo de...
There. That wasn't so hard, was it? We identified the confusion, and we worked past it. I'm Lord Pel Harmond. I do hope, Inquisitor, that you continue to respond to reason. After all, your choice of company is hardly virtuous.
Disculpa.
Freaking user you are. Another noble prick who punches down.
Exacto.
We're the same, you and I. Well, that is overstating it. You are nothing like me, but
Maldito
we
clasista
both
de
need
mierda.
people.
Acá está mi aliada.
You want to talk now, but Sarah's my ally. You attacked her friends.
Come now. You know how much her meddling cost me? Because apparently you were complicit. Honestly, previous to this very moment, I thought you'd also been tricked by these Red Jennies.
Que a ti también te habían engañado de las
You're
Jennies.
of noble birth, and as Inquisitor, you are more than a peer. I attacked them on behalf of us both.
Arse biscuit.
No te juntes con la chusma, me está diciendo
Inquisitor,
básicamente.
Herald, I don't want to be your enemy. I'm barely invested in being hers. If you are willing to recognize an opportunity, we could be exceptional partners.
Mátalo, Cera. Servirás a la Inquisición, cuidado. Investigar. ¿Qué quieres a cambio?
Nothing is free.
Esto es peligroso, ¿eh?
What do you expect from the Inquisition?
Access, Inquisitor. Your diplomat is wisely selected.
Josie has better taste than him, yeah?
Lady Montillier knows a wise acquisition. Or perhaps can be made to see one.
Stop talking to him. Really, just stop it.
Un momento, ¿será? ¿Qué pasaba en Berchiel?
You were up to something in Vishel, Harmond. What was it?
If you mean bettering my wealth and position, I'm always seeking that.
Sí, claro, normal.
By getting people hurt?
Lady Shell Morveau and I were jockeying for the land south of Verchel. To claim land, you must populate it. My people encouraged hers to leave. Her people answered in kind, etc. Really, it was all terribly standard displacement until your troops seemed to change the balance. Well played.
Tell the snot splash no already. Not saying again.
Creo que esta le va a disparar. Me gustaría asociarme contigo. Servirás a la Inquisición. ¿Qué hago, gente? Voy a seguir preguntando cosas, ya si Cera lo mata, que lo mate. Es que si va a ser un agente en más, no me interesa. Para absolutamente nada. Si me vas a bloquear misiones, está muy bien. Pero como me quiero ligar a Cera, tampoco es como que, ¿sabes? Quiera quedar mal con ella. ¿Qué puedes aportarnos?
What would you be willing to commit to the Inquisition?
Why even ask?
Because a leader needs such information to make informed decisions. My family has ties across Lower Ferelden. Our presence in Orlais is recent, which is why I resorted to subterfuge. We have militia elsewhere, and they can be made expendable for your purposes.
3, 2, frigging done!
Now what was the point of that?
Ese era el punto.
Puss bucket, frigging bastard, shitebag, piss-face. Eat it, you lop-eared son of an arsenal, rotten
Sarah!
piece of...
Sarah!
What?
No había terminado con él. No había terminado con él.
What are you doing? He might have been useful.
You don't listen to his type. They get in your head.
No
I
debí
decide
decir
that.
eso.
Do you understand?
Loud and clear, yeah.
Es que es muy diferente, ¿no? No había acabado con él, de quería sacarle más información, no había acabado con él de podría ser útil, ¿sabes? O sea, también el Inquisidor hizo una cosa bien estúpida, o sea, dijo cosas muy tontas. Voy a ver si puedo cargar para volver a hacerlo.
What? What do you want? Because I'm still angry. Angry
Bueno,
face.
Hay
And you should thank me for
cinemática.
stomping the smile off that arse. He was getting in your head.
Fue culpa tuya, no me cuestiones, tienes razón.
I did what I thought was best. It wasn't ideal, and I apologize.
What? Really?
¿Sí?
Really.
Well, good then. Right, what do you mean? Because I am really not used to that acceptance thing you're doing right there.
Son negacionistas aliados. Quiero que seamos amigas. Es sencillo, me gustas.
I don't want this to get in the way of you staying. I like having you here.
I could see that, Lady Trevelyan. I could. You're on my good side. We'll see if it lasts.
Jenny la Roja asiste a una fiesta.
Ready for waiting.
Me gustas.
I was thinking you and I should get to know each other.
Look, you're nice. Let's travel around more. I get to know you. We'll see.
Ok, me sirve. Entonces hay que ir ahora a la mesa de guerra a a desbloquear la otra misión de cera. Hola.
Hey. What's been going on?
Just waiting to get back out there.
Muy bien. Adiós.
Take care.
Do whatever you want. Tengo ganas de ir a la fortaleza que está en tierras interiores, donde sacamos la llave de los contrabandistas. A ver si en ese mismo escritorio hay un libro de los Venatori. Porque me dijo, vuelve a lugares que ya habías vuelto y busca lugares nuevos. Y me suena como que ahí podría haber un libro. Porque recuerdo mucho ese lugar, o sea, lo tengo como muy presente, ¿no? Por algo es. Ferelden. ¿Vamos? Coño. Como que se atora. Rumores listos, acusaciones falsas y una runa. Bien.
The city has agreed to send us 5 dozen guardsmen.
Not raw recruits. With luck, they'll know which end to grip a sword by.
¿Dónde está lo de Jenny la Roja? ¿Asiste a una fiesta? Aquí está. Ese tipo es un capullo, golpea a los que lo rodean y se cree que sus soberanos lo compensan. Aborchanado de su propia fiesta lo capeceréis con una docena de personas. Aborchornadlo en su propia fiesta. Debajo hay un garabateado, no sé qué. Por favor, sácale sus secretos más vergonzosos. Y tan tan. Has adquirido una runa de corrupción. Vamos a hablar un poquito con Josephine, a ver qué nos tiene que decir.
And what else did Lady Forsythia say?
That she'd rather drown herself than help the Inquisition.
Anything else?
She said she'd have us flogged alive if we allied with her brother.
That does sound like her.
Cheer up, Josie. We at least have her attention.
You always do find the brighter side of things.
Me encanta el acento de Josephine.
We are in the midst of cementing an alliance with Lady Forsythia of Nevada, your worship. It's become a somewhat delicate task.
¿Es algo que pueda hacer?
Can I do anything to help negotiations?
Thank you, but I believe I have matters in hand.
Okay.
I dissuaded her from sending soldiers when she learned we'd struck an accord with a brother she's feuding with. Lady Forsythia simply employs a colorful manner of speech.
Espero que no pueda contigo.
Dealing with so many demanding, strong-willed people can't be easy.
It's no less intense than my days at court, Inquisitor, I assure you. But I confess I do miss my staff from the embassy in Antiva. It was always useful to discuss the day's visitors with them.
Puedes hablarlo conmigo.
I have time if you'd like to review things with me.
Esto es para ligártela a
I
ella,
wouldn't
pero
wish to
no me voy a quedar con cera.
If it were imposing, I wouldn't have offered.
Well, I admit there are a few potential
Aunque esta me gusta
alliances
más.
it would be good to discuss. Right on the parlor floor, in front of everyone at the soiree. Who does such a thing in front of their guests?
The Duke of Kellington, apparently.
And then there's Cole's lurking. It frightens our guests half to death. Lord Gennard still won't respond to our letters. And Sarah, can she not find a single overshirt with that mustard taint on it? Not to mention... Oh goodness. Have we been here an hour already?
Algo más de una hora.
2.5 hours, I think. But no one's counting.
Oh, dear. I didn't intend to go on for so long. You must think me quite the gossip.
Creo que eso es deliciosa. No, no me la voy a... Es que esta me gusta más, pero no me la voy a ligar. Ya tenemos un compromiso con Cera y quiero ver cómo es con Cera. Con esta mujer ya sé cómo es porque ya lo hice. Creo que eres una joya.
No one else here has your experience, Josephine. Or your stories.
I'll try to curtail their length next time. But I leave feeling less troubled than I have in weeks.
Sí, pues que tienes que sacarlo para que te sientas más tranqui. Una chilladita de 10 minutos para reiniciarte la vida. Típico. ¿Puedo viajar desde aquí? Creo que más rápido así. Sí. Que salí por la puerta. Seguimos hablando con Josephine.
A pleasure.
¿Algo que informar?
What do the people make of us?
We've gathered many favors among the nobility. They will be gently reminded of this.
Any visiting dignitaries I should watch out for?
You may see the Countess Lutetia in the halls. A lovely woman, but her conversations tend towards the unusual. She's the patron of Orlay's greatest naturalists. The Countess's particular passion is collecting butterflies.
That doesn't sound unusual.
She goes into great detail about preserving them. It seems to involve large amounts of chemicals and pins. It's good to see you.
Tengo preguntas personales. Bueno, no, en realidad no. Todo esto ya lo hablamos.
Let's speak later.
Another time.
Your worship. Nope. Stone mad, Inquisitor.
Another time.
Best of the vein, Inquisitor.
¿Y los mosaicos? ¿Dónde los estás poniendo? Para eso te lo estoy trayendo. Es que las conversiones de solas me dan un poco de hueva. Pues las necesito porque voy a ser mago del tal, entonces. Ah, mira, ya tenemos a Dorian en el equipo, pero no lo tenemos del todo, ¿no? ¿O cómo? Yo te quiero en el equipo, quiero que seas un personaje jugable.
One moment you're trying to restore order in a world gone mad. That should be enough for anyone to handle, yes? Then, out of nowhere, an archdemon appears and kicks you in the head. What? You thought this would be easy? No, I was just hoping you wouldn't crush our village like an anthill. Sorry about that. Archdemons like to crush, you know. Can't be helped. I suppose a proper introduction is called for, now that we're not running for our lives.
Sí, ¿quién eres?
Dorian of House Parvus,
Mucho gusto.
most recently of the Tevinter Imperium. I was at Redcliffe when the Venatori assumed command of your southern mages. I only wish I could have given more warning.
Fue valiente lo que hiciste.
What you did for
Sabemos
us
que
at
es gay,
Haven was very brave.
con lo cual no nos va a corresponder.
It was, wasn't it? Throwing in my lot with the underdogs, that's me. I always assumed the elder one behind the Venatori was a Magister. But this is something else completely. In Tevinter, they say the Chantry's tales of Magisters starting the Blight are just that. Tales. But here we are. Yes. One of those very Magisters, a dark spawn.
Sí, así es. Pareces molesto, no sé qué. ¿La capilla miente?
Who does the Imperium say started the Blight?
You know how it is. Not us. They say Darkspawn were always there. Magisters and the Blight aren't even related. Is that a surprise? No one wants to admit they shit the bed. But if Corypheus is one of the Magisters who entered the Black City and he's Darkspawn, what other explanation is there?
Pareces molesto.
Why does that make you angry?
Because the Imperium is my home. I knew what I was taught couldn't be the whole truth. But I assumed there had to be a kernel of it, somewhere. But no. It was us all along. We destroyed the world.
Sí, pero si lo borran de los libros de historia es porque se sienten arrepentidos o porque lo quieren volver a hacer en secreto. No tú, pero tus arribas. Aún no está destruido.
Last I checked, the Blights hadn't actually destroyed the world.
Not for lack of trying. If they were more clever, they'd have unleashed something that would really do the job. I have no intention of letting Corypheus win. Not without someone from Tevinter standing against him. If it's all the same to you, I'd like to stay and help the Inquisition.
Eres bienvenido. Pero vamos a hablar primero contigo. ¿Lucharías contra los tuyos?
You'd really fight your own countrymen?
Southerners like to think of the Imperium as nothing but slavers and cultists. Why not? That's all you see. But it's not true. Some Tevinters are not only handsome and well-dressed, but rather put off by all that rot. So, I'll happily kill cultists or anyone who thinks a Darkspawn god is the way of the future.
Podría ser un espía.
What if this is a ruse? The Venatori could have captured you, sent you here.
Rather elaborate, considering they'd need to have assumed you'd escape Haven. But I am the ideal spy. Charming, clever, perfect teeth and hair. It all fits. How about this? Let me help, and you can hang me later, if you wish. I look good in rope.
Luzco mucho colgado de una cuerda. Eres bienvenido.
We can use all the help we can get.
Quiero que te enamores
No
del
one will
todo.
thank me, whatever happens.
Quiero conversaciones
No one will thank
interesantes
you either.
mientras vamos caminando por el
You know
mundo.
that, yeah?
Momento de romper paradigmas. Gente del siglo XXI. Nadie va a dar las gracias, pase lo que pase, ni tampoco a ti, eso lo sabes, ¿no? No quiero su agradecimiento.
That's not why I'm doing this.
I knew there was something clever about you. All I know is this. Corypheus needs to be stopped. Men like him ruined my homeland. I won't stand by and let him ruin the world.
Mira, ya podemos ir por...
Oh, and congratulations on that whole leading the Inquisition thing, by the way.
Gracias. Tenemos un personaje nuevo, el más brillante de su era. Que es este, ¿con quién más podemos...? Ah, mira, hay cosas para leer aquí. Vamos a leerlas todas. El velo, bla, bla, bla. Esto me desbloquea experiencia. Me da puntitos. Los puntitos son... Helisma.
Greetings to you, Inquisitor.
Esta es la
I am
nueva
to serve as assistant
Meliviana,
to
no
any
sé qué, ¿no?
research concerns.
No lo conocía
You'll
esta.
find my
Está bonita.
skills are exceptional. I hope they prove useful.
Sustituyes a Minaev, sí, porque se murió en esta cosa.
You're taking over the duties of Maeve? Yes.
No lo alcanzamos a rescatar. A los que no rescatamos se mueren de verdad, gente. Y meten NPCs nuevos para la nueva etapa en este castillo. No sé qué pasa si los logras rescatar a todos. Nunca he logrado rescatarlos a todos. Creo que es imposible rescatarlos a todos. ¿Qué habilidades tienes?
How can you serve the Inquisition? I am to aid in the research of all creatures encountered in your efforts as leader of the Inquisition. What makes you particularly qualified? I remember being fond of animals. I don't remember why.
Suena tranquila.
You were made tranquil. Yes, I am tranquil. It was necessary due to a willful nature that made wielding magic a dangerous endeavor. I remember that being a difficult time, but I cannot remember why. My skills are well used in my current position.
Ok. ¿Y cómo va tu cometido?
What is your evaluation of how we're doing? Adequate, based on the partial improvements to Skyhold.
Adiós.
As you were. Yes, Inquisitor.
Y de todos los monstruos nuevos, yo los entrego aquí. Y me dan experiencia. Me dan influencia también. ¿Solo eso? ¿En serio? Ahí está, mira. Harapos helados, harapos del sueño, garras de pesadilla, yelmos no sé qué. Y me va mejorando cositas. Códices. Uno más de voluntad o de protección contra no sé qué. O así me da cosas. Mira, Dracolisco Sombra Cazador. Me lo dio por hacer cosas de aquí. Ya, no tengo nada para entregar. Estoy esperando a que pasen todos los avisos. Creo que se bugueó. O si me pasé yo de lanza. Creo que se bugueó. ¿Parará algún día? Parece que no. No, vamos a hablar con este. A ver si no se buguea todo.
That Chantry fellow who led us through the mountain from Haven. You know he died, I assume. Got us as far as the camp and then that was it.
Nunca me cayó bien.
I can't say I feel sad about
Oops,
that.
lo desapruebo.
He was...
I've heard. I helped him walk. He talked about you quite a bit. He just needed to be sure you were Andraste's chosen. He was terrified of what it meant, if it were true. But in the end, he believed. He asked me to tell you he was sorry.
Gracias por contármelo.
Thank you for telling me about that.
I thought it was important. Anyway, we can talk about something else if you'd rather.
Háblame de
It occurs to me
ti.
that I barely know anything about you.
Estoy pensando que apenas no sé qué. No alcancé a
Beyond
leer.
that, yes.
And beyond my being so charming and well-dressed, which is obvious to anyone.
Es obvio para mí. Le voy a coquetear porque sé que me va a rechazar.
I'm well aware of your finer qualities. Believe me.
Of course you are. You're a discerning and intelligent woman, after all. Now, what was I talking about? Ah, yes, me.
Es bien
I am the
metrosexual
scion
y
of
bien
House
ególatra.
Parvis, a product of generations of careful breeding and the repository of its hopes and dreams. Naturally, I despised it all. The lies, the scheming, the illusions of supremacy. That's Tevinter in a nutshell, isn't it? Needless to say, my family was not happy with my choices.
¿Cría selectiva?
What did you mean by generations of careful breeding?
The great families of Tevinter don't have children.
Hey.
They refine traits, weed out the undesirable, and promote the rest. My mother was chosen for my father because magic runs strongly in her blood. Never mind that they loathed each other.
Oh.
They wanted a son who could become
Tú eres el resultado de la
make
cría
House
perfecta.
Parvis the envy of the Imperium. They got me. A cautionary tale that you should be careful what you wish for.
Claro. ¿Están enfadados contigo?
Why would your family be upset with
Ah,
your
sí,
choices?
cierto.
Because
Las
I
misiones de
rejected their
este es
idyllic
engañarlo
plan.
para que vaya a
If they
platicar
had
con sus
their way,
papás.
by now I'd be married to some unlucky girl from a powerful family. We'd live in luxurious despair, despising each other as I waited to take my father's place in the magisterium. I declined the honor, and thus it's best I'm far from home. Less of an embarrassment that way, you see?
¿No te gusta Tevinter?
I'm getting the impression that you don't care much for your homeland.
On the contrary, I care for my homeland a great deal. There's so much potential. Sadly, we squander it. We refuse to acknowledge how far we've fallen because pretending is easier. We pretend the Qunari can be beaten. We pretend that we're superior to everyone, even our own people. Not everyone feels that way. I don't. Sadly, we're the minority.
It just seems... So much of what you say about the Imperium is entirely negative.
Me da la sensación de que las conversaciones de Estrellita son como solamente pudiste llegar aquí porque pasaste por toda esta conversación, ¿no? Como algo así, como algo especial, por haber preguntado.
You can walk down a side street and find nothing built during the modern ages. And despite appearances, we
Es que no solo te da lore del juego, o sea, también te puedes bloquear misiones, incluso te puede dar experiencia.
If I
Creo.
truly believed
No
my
sé, espero.
homeland was beyond all hope, I wouldn't miss it so much.
¿Y por qué no regresas?
Why remain with the Inquisition? Why not go back to Tevinter?
I'm not exactly welcome back home. Not that it matters, I'm quite accustomed to being a pariah. It adds to my charm. I can do more for Tevinter here. If the Venatori succeed, it'll set my homeland back 1,000 years. I'm sure some magisters would disagree, but that's why we kill them.
Enough
I think
for
I've heard
now.
enough.
That's too bad. I never tire of talking about myself.
Ya vi. Entonces aquí ya no hay nada, ¿no? Ah, mira, sí. Háblame del Imperio.
I'd like to ask you about Tevinter.
Ah, yes. Everyone outside the Imperium always seems quite fascinated by it. Probably why they come up with so many ridiculous tales. Flying cows over Minrathous. That's madness. All right, that one's actually true, but the cows didn't have wings. I digress. Anything in particular you wanted to know?
Corifeo suma ese.
Corypheus is a figure out of Tevinter history. He was a magister.
Yes, but that was a different time. The Imperium's power was at its peak then.
¿Es viajo en el
The
tiempo o
Civil
qué?
War had ended. The Magisterium was united, its armies scooping up bits of Thedas like candy. The Magisters who entered the Black City. It was a demonstration of how exceptional Tevinter had become.
But who were they?
No one knows. There's no record of a Magister named Corypheus. All this happened 1,400 years ago, before the Blight nearly wiped us out. There are no records. Today, people half believe it's all just a story. That's what I believed.
Pero no es una historia.
We have evidence the story is very much real.
But not who Corypheus is. If he even remembers. There used to be families who claimed some of those Magisters as their own. That stopped when the Chantry appeared. Then it was shameful, and the families distanced themselves from the tale. All we know is that some men and women entered the Black City looking for the old gods. What did they find? According to Corypheus, nothing. And only he could tell us more.
¿Hay mucha magia de sangre?
Just how often is blood magic used there?
Oh, not at all.
Not at all.
That's what any Magister would tell you. They'd be convincingly offended by the notion too. Of course, what people call blood magic here, and what we consider blood magic, are two different things.
Ya. ¿Y cómo lo llamarías?
What's considered actual blood magic in Tevinter?
Blood magic isn't inherently dangerous. Using your own blood or that of a willing participant, what's the harm? The problem is that what's permitted only gets you so much power. And what if you need more? You always need more. That's where we get into sacrifices and demon summoning. None of that is done. Not officially. Behind closed doors, it's a different story. Real blood magic can give you an edge, a leg up against your opponents. It's safe to assume that any mage of rank does it. The rest are quietly shut out of power, to put it bluntly.
¿Y qué hacen los
You'd
templarios?
think the Templars would object.
I imagine they did, long ago. Once, their investigations might have been sincere. Then their balls were cut off. Too inconvenient. Nowadays, only the friendless are accused. And most of them probably innocent.
¿Y nadie disiente?
There must be some mages who oppose this.
Of course. I do. And I'm not entirely alone. Occasionally, there'll be a Magister who makes noise. And then the reform talk begins. All very patriotic. Meanwhile, that Magister will be quietly shunned. Chances are, surprise, it's learned he was a Maleficar all along. Most learn to keep quiet. Me? I enjoy the allure of pariahhood.
Ya. ¿Qué hay de la esclavitud?
Anyone who talks about the Imperium mentions slavery. It's the center of the slave trade.
Ah. That is true.
And did you have slaves?
Not personally, but my family does and treats them well. Honestly, I never thought much about it until I came south. Back home, it's how it is. Slaves are everywhere. You don't question it. I'm not even certain many slaves do.
¿Está diciendo que les gusta?
You think slaves like it that way? Don't be ridiculous.
I didn't say they like it. It's all most of them know. In the south, you have
Claro.
alienages,
Pregunta más
slums,
estúpida.
both human and elven. The desperate have no way out. Back home, a poor man can sell himself. As a slave, he could have a position of respect, comfort, and could even support a family. Some slaves are treated poorly, it's true. But do you honestly think inescapable poverty is better?
Se les trata mal. Al menos pueden elegir.
Is that what you call it? Treated poorly?
Abuse heaped upon those without power isn't limited to Tevinter, my friend. I don't know what it's like to be a slave, true. I never thought about it until I saw how different it was here. But I suspect you don't know either. Nor should you believe that every tale of Tevinter excess is the norm.
Ya, claro, eso también. O sea, sí están los hijos de puta, pero pues también hay gente que no se pasa tanto de lanza, ¿no? Es parte de su cultura tener gente que trabaja para ellos, pero los tratan como seres humanos, ¿no?
Why are you less qualified to rule than some tart with a fancy crown? Actually, the fiction in the Imperium is that mages don't rule. The Magisterium rules. That magisters are all mages is considered a convenient technicality.
El magisterio.
What is the Magisterium, exactly?
The upper house of the Imperial Senate, and the only part worth having a seat on. Those seats are split among the circles of Magi, the Chantry, and the major families. All mages now. It's odd that outside the Imperium, you use Magister like it applies to every Tevinter mage.
¿Qué eres entonces?
If you're not a Magister, then what are you called? No special title?
I'm an Altus, which is almost as good as a Magister, depending on who you ask.
¿Y qué es un altus?
I've never heard of an Altus.
Upper class. Those families who trace descent from the Dreamers, the first prophets of the old gods. If you're a mage and you're not Altus, then you're later, lower class. If you're not a mage at all, you're Soperati. That's everyone else. We do love our fancy words.
Soporati. Hablan como italiano, medio italiano, ¿no? ¿Y qué del Arconte?
I thought the Archon ruled over the Imperium.
Well, yes. Technically, he can overrule laws passed by the Magisterium, but that never happens. Even so, he gets to appoint new Magisters, which means all the families vie madly for his favor. Thus, the Archon gets invited to all the parties. The truest path to Tevinter influence, let me tell you.
Ya. Pero si mandan los
If
magos...
it's a fiction, that means mages do rule then.
Yes and no. Let me put it this way. Mages do rule, but not all mages are equal. If you're not from the right family, chances are you don't rule anything. Maybe you're even a slave. The idea that anyone could be a mage, however, keeps the masses placated.
Oh. ¿Y eso es verdad? ¿Cualquiera puede ser un mago?
Can anyone be a mage?
Technically, the potential runs mostly in bloodlines, but it's been known to happen. More importantly, commoners believe it can. Tevinter legend is chock full of mage heroes from humble origins. So they hold out hope. Someday my son or my son's son will be a mage. Someday. Poor sods don't realize that means he'll be a quaestor at the arse end of the 100 Pillars, at best.
¿Y eso es malo?
Being a quaestor isn't a good thing.
I imagine the average non-mage likes to think so. Counting numbers and shuffling papers all day is better than many occupations after all. If you're a second-class citizen among a pack of piranha, however, your outlook changes.
Quiero saber otra cosa.
Let me ask you something else.
Of course.
¿El Imperio tiene una
There's an
capilla?
Imperial Chantry, isn't there? With its own divine.
You people aren't supposed to talk about the Black Divine, are you? If you mention him outside the Imperium, people make that face, like you're urinating in public. But yes, we do have the Chantry, or a version of it. Night and day comparing it to yours.
De la noche al día, ya. Sí. ¿Qué tan distinta?
Is the Imperial Chantry so different from ours?
Not in theory. The main difference is in the whole magic is meant to serve man, not rule over him business. Back home, ruling the unwashed masses is serving them, for the good of the Imperium. Perhaps it started with good intentions, but these days it's academic. The circles are in command.
Un momento, gente, que tuve un conato de... Déjenme apuntar esto antes de que se me olvide. Ok, un momento, gente, un momento. Maravilloso. Continuemos. ¿Tiene círculos?
There are circles of magi in the Imperium.
We don't have dismal little mage prisons, if that's what you mean. They're academies, prestigious ones. We have Templars as well, but they don't cancel spells or whatever your Templars do. They're soldiers.
They don't use lyrium.
Ha! As if there'd be any left for them. They watch for abuse of magic, yes, but only those who are weak or who fall out of favor get dealt with. Mostly they enforce their magisterium's edicts. The Chantry smiles and nods from the sidelines.
Claro. Porque el lirio lo usan para la magia de sangre, que es como lo más normal. Aquí, como el lirio es como el diablo, los templarios tienen una forma de utilizarlo para obtener sus poderes de templarios en esta zona. Y el lirio rojo, o algo así, o sea, como un lirio distinto, es el que está corrompiendo a las tropas de Corifeo. Creo que es algo así, la ondita. No estoy muy seguro, pero creo que es algo así, por lo que alcanzo a entender. ¿El divino negro?
Do you really call him the Black Divine?
We don't call him that, oh no. In the Imperium, he's the true divine. The woman sitting on the Sunburst throne is some backwater pretender. It all stems from a disagreement over Andraste. Marvelous, isn't it?
¿Un desacuerdo?
Why would they disagree over Andraste?
It's not my field of expertise, but the Imperium believes Andraste was a mortal woman, a mage.
Una maga.
Down south they say, no, she's the bride of the Maker, ascended to his side, divine provenance, a blah blah blah. We feel better believing Andraste was one of us. Makes executing her less damning, you see. So we elected a man as divine, the South declared war, and we've been feuding cousins ever since.
¿Divino es un hombre?
So, the Imperial Divine is always a man?
All the better to distinguish him from that other one, yes. Don't think there aren't a number of female magistes who bristle at that. Why can't they be divine after all? Same reason you never see a man on the Sunburst throne. Because that's how it's always been done. Excellent reasoning.
¿Eres creyente?
Do you consider yourself Andrastian?
The big question. It might surprise you that I do consider myself Andrastian. I simply do not believe in the Chantry.
Sí, se
It is a
entiende.
relic, whether back home or here
Creer
in
en
the
Dios,
south.
pero no en lo que la iglesia
Something
te
from a
dice que Dios
bygone
es,
age,
¿no? Algo así.
desperately clinging to relevance. It's not an opinion that makes me popular.
Pero, pues, claro que sí. Otros pondrán objeciones, sí. Estoy de acuerdo. La capilla tiene su lugar. Estoy de acuerdo.
I share your opinion, actually.
That's not surprising, considering what the Inquisition represents. I'll say this. I may not believe in the Chantry, but I believe in you.
In me?
Y lo vas a ver desde las primeras filas. Vas a estar a mi lado tirando magia. Y vamos a romper el hielo bien. Te voy a encargar el Toro de Hierro para que ustedes dos sean felices. Yo me voy a quedar con la elfa. Y vamos a ir los cuatro por el mundo. O sea, ¿sabes? Matando a todo Dios. Y que el amor nos proteja. O sea, ya si queremos hacer el 4, pues solamente que sea, como que Sera se agüita. Estos dos no creo que se agüiten, pero como que Sera se agüita un poco más. Pero al final de cuentas, es yo creo que en la guerra, o sea, estar en medio del campo, mientras más amas a la otra persona en todos los sentidos, más la proteges y más luchas porque la otra persona no muera y por salvarte a ti para que la otra persona no lleve por ti, y eso hace que ganes batallas. Yo creo, Por eso Esparta ganó muchas cosas, tengo entendido, ¿no? Es lo que más necesitábamos en el momento de mayor necesidad. Es lo que dirían en las eras venideras. No sé, eres idiota. Estoy de acuerdo. Me sorprende que creas eso.
You don't seem like the religious sort, to be honest.
If you define religious as sitting in a chantry and listening to a blithering hen tell you how to live,
Exacto.
then no. If you define it as believing in the possibility that something larger than yourself exists, then yes. By all means, the world is bigger than I, even bigger than you. It laughs at all the things we think we know. The Maker doesn't need me to believe, but I do. The thought of no one at all watching out for us is too frightening.
Quiero saber otra cosa. Aprendimos mucho.
So many questions.
¿Podría hablarse con nosotros?
I'm wondering if the Imperium would be a useful ally.
I'd think you'd be more concerned whether or not they'd support the Venatori. They won't, of course. At least, not officially. They'll disavow all knowledge of dangerous cultists. Secretly, many Magisters will rejoice at the idea. And if the South falls to chaos in the meantime, all the better.
Es inteligente por su
parte. It would
parte.
be in the Imperium's best interest to help. Surely it could use allies.
I think the Imperium gave up on the idea of allies a long time ago. We've been fighting the Qunari for what, 200 years off and on? It's a point of pride that we go it alone. They'll sneer at the South behind their silk handkerchiefs and say, "You've had it easy for far too long." Let's not forget that the Inquisition seems to be an arm of the Orlesian Chantry. Anathema so far as they're concerned.
Pero no lo somos.
We're not part of the Chantry. The Chantry opposed the Inquisition's formation.
You think that matters? Don't be silly. The Herald of Andraste. Your very title smacks of the Southern Chantry. You may as well be a heathen. I think they're far more frightened what you'll do if you succeed.
Claro. Tiene todo el sentido del mundo.
Fair enough.
¿Por qué te fuiste a
I'm
Wilford?
curious why you were in Redcliffe in the first place.
Looking up an old mentor of mine. A magister by the name of Alexius. Good fellow. Always thought highly of him. Then one day, he asks me to join the Venatori. I don't know what he was
Venatori otra vez.
He knew I wanted to change Tevinter, not regress it into prehistoric madness. The Venatori killed Alexius once he stopped being useful.
Ya. ¿Por qué se unió a ellos?
Seems odd.
Está buscando venganza ¿verdad? Yo te ayudaré con tu venganza. Hombro a hombro. Estoy muy emocionado por jugar con este tipo porque nunca lo he jugado.
People will do odd things when they're strung over a barrel. Either that, or I didn't really know Alexius at all.
No con Toro y con Cera. Quiero ver cómo va lo de Toro y Cera. Se llevan bien. No sé cómo se llevará este con Cera porque eso es nobleza y lo otro, pero...
I should go.
Try not to die. I would notice you were gone.
Códices. Todo eso es experiencia para subir de nivel,
It occurs to me that you're a mage.
That just occurred to you.
I meant, you must have been part of the circle of magi in the south. Meaning, you were locked away like a criminal, at least until you rebelled. It's such a bizarre notion to me.
Estoy de acuerdo.
It's bizarre to me as well.
I believe This is a moment where we stand in mutual recognition of mankind's folly. It's more surprising that everyone would take the idea of a mage inquisitor so calmly. Maybe it's not calm. Maybe the Antivan crows are swimming in gold from all the contracts on your life. Good luck with that, by the way. Grand fun being the one in charge.
Yo tengo bastante. Para eso tengo a Leliana.
Try not to
Gracias.
kill anyone without me.
No, te pienso llevar contigo.
You seem very interested in my opinions.
Ya tengo suficiente.
I should go.
Naturally.
Muy bien. Mira, se acabaron las entregas. Si le doy una vez, ¿se bugueará otra vez? Nah. Muy bien. Examinar. Querida Leliana. Si lo quieren leer, se los dejo ahí. Bye. Leliana. Tendríamos que hablar con Leliana también. Si es desbloqueado, no sé qué. Bueno. Ah, mira, hay viaje rápido para venir directo con Leliana cuando quiera. Maravilloso. El varón coraje. Y este ya lo habíamos leído. Y yo creo que este capítulo lo voy a dejar por aquí, porque ya me lo tengo cosas que hacer, pero nos vemos al ratito, gente. Chao. Vikkopiloto, cambio y fuera.